Alrighty, guys. Ryan Day. Ryan Day completes the job. Ryan Day is a national champion. I never said to fire Ryan Day on this program, and I know that a lot of people are going to have to eat their words after Ryan Day and the Ohio State Buckeyes are the 2024 national champions. I feel really good for a couple of players on this team, like JTT, Jack Sawyer, Cody Simon, Emeka Egbuka, all of the seniors that were a part of this team. Like Captain Jack Sawyer, this is a guy that had a decent career at Ohio State, a very good career, but up until this playoff run, he's somebody that Ohio State fans that he was a little bit underwhelming. I think he might have been a 5-star recruit. Really, it was Ryan Day's first recruit back when Jack Sawyer was 15 years old. So he goes out there and he wins a national title, guys. Unbelievable. So Ohio State, what a season, what a year. So Ohio State, they even, the year when they lost to Michigan also, they played Georgia in the Fiesta in the Peach Bowl. That was the year with C.J. Stroud. That was the year where they almost won a national title. Also, it was with Hutchinson, and it was the last year of Aiden Hutchinson at Michigan. Really special Michigan team as well. But these Big Ten teams, Michigan and Ohio State, like these programs, they get guys that stay older. And, they went out and they also made really good acquisitions in the portal. Will Howard ended up carrying this offense. Against Oregon, he was great. Against Tennessee in the first half. And then tonight, he completed his first 12 passes, threw for about 250 yards, and got Ohio State up big. Quinshon Judkins throughout this playoff was a man amongst boys. He was fantastic. Caleb Downs ended up making multiple splash plays, and you really saw Caleb Downs. So you really saw the talent of Ohio State. And Texas, Alabama, Texas A&M, they're all spending big money on rosters. I know that Ohio State is spending big money on these rosters, but they're not like spending more money than these other programs. Every program is spending around that kind of money, and a lot of times it's to retain. It's not just that they're buying players off of the portal. You get Will Howard, you get Judkins, so you get a couple of good players from the portal. Caleb Downs, but really this team was led by Jack Sawyer, Simon. It was led by Henderson, the running back. It was led by offensive line work. It was led by Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly's now a national champion as well. So Chip Kelly and Ryan Day. Chip Kelly goes to Ohio State, and in his first year, he finally wins a national championship with a coach in Ryan Day that is actually his player. So Ryan Day's mentors Chip Kelly, and that relationship just grows stronger. Jim Knowles is a veteran defensive coordinator. He goes to Ohio State, and he ends up becoming a national championship defensive coordinator. So great coaches all around. But for Ryan Day, a lot of people thought this day would never come. And I know I said day again. The reason is with Ryan is that, he was he lost to Michigan 4 straight years, including last year with a decent quarterback in Kyle McCord, Marvin Harrison. He had some really good players on the team last year. And then, with C.J. Stroud, they had that chance against Georgia to go out there and win, and he didn't do it, and he lost. And then at home against Michigan the previous year, that was actually when he had C.J. Stroud again. I'm trying to think if that was when Michigan went on to Michigan won the national title. It was 2 years ago. Ohio State ended up losing at home to Michigan. And J.J. McCarthy and Donovan Edwards, they had that huge game. So Ryan Day really hasn't lost a lot, But Ryan Day, I mean, even against Missouri last year, he lost the bowl game. Like Ryan Day at Oregon, he couldn't get it done. And then this year, he had a colossal collapse against Michigan. And Ryan Day would get tight in the biggest of moments. You know, Ryan Day, a couple of years ago when he was there against Georgia in the final drive, you know, he didn't push the envelope on the final drive and try to get it in the closer field goal range. And then Ryan Day and that defense folded up like a cheap lawn seat. And tonight, Notre Dame actually started to come back. But Ryan Day, that third down call, I said to bomb it to Smith, your best player. They played one-on-one. And they made the plays. And Will Howard today made plays outside of structure. And Will Howard won them the game. Will Howard, Jeremiah Smith, this offense, Carnell Tate, just all the weapons, Brian Hartline, like finally this team put it together. And then against Texas, it was the defensive effort. It was the goal line stand, whether it was against Texas or against Penn State. So this team is such a worthy champion from the Big Ten Conference. And now the Big Ten Conference has won 2 straight championships, and they have Oregon in their conference, and they have a Penn State team that's going to be really, really good. So the Big Ten is bringing it to the SEC. They are really posing a threat now in college football, and you're seeing instead of the champions all being in the Southeast, you're seeing some of the champions in the North. Now, Ohio State has won. Notre Dame, like Riley Leonard, was pretty decent in this game, but Notre Dame just has so many injuries. Their offensive line injuries were not good. They really could not run the ball at all. And they needed to run the ball to keep Ohio State honest in this game, and they did not do that whatsoever. So Notre Dame could not run the ball like they did on the opening drive. They put way too much on Greathouse and on Riley Leonard, but Riley Leonard showed up like a champion in the fourth quarter. And even when they missed that short field goal when they should have even went for it, Notre Dame still made it an 8-point game. Still had creative play calls down there on the 2-point conversions. And honestly, I look at Ryan Day, and he needed the game significantly more than Marcus Freeman needed the game. Ryan Day is 45, 46 years old, and he's been at Ohio State for 8 or 9 years, and Ohio State went through the gauntlet, okay, where Marcus Freeman is only in year 3, Ryan Day's in year 8, and Ryan Day is an older coach. And also, we look at Ohio State, and with all the losses to their rival, with a kind of soft out-of-conference schedule, and this year with Ryan Day, in conference, like not winning against Oregon, like Ryan Day really needed this national title, okay? He was squarely on the hot seat because Ohio State was putting together a roster that was certainly competent to be competing and to get to the Final Four of the playoff, and it was a roster that should have at least went to the Big Ten championship. But Ryan Day and this team got a redemption opportunity, and they seized that story, okay, with Jack Sawyer and with these guys. And this team won me over in the way that they battled against Texas, because their offense against Texas wasn't there. Against Oregon, every play they drew up hit home runs. So it was like a game where if you're playing baseball, your team's just hitting home runs, hitting home runs, hitting home runs. And it's very easy to play in a game where you're hitting home runs all the time. But against Texas, Pete Kwiatkowski in Texas totally limited Ohio State. They shut Ohio State down in that game in Dallas, Texas, in the Cotton Bowl. They shut Ohio State's offense down. But then Ohio State had to grind. They had a screen pass to Henderson that went 80 yards. And Ohio State's defense that night absolutely went after Texas and shut down Texas. And it got to the point where JTT and then Jack Sawyer was unblockable against Texas, and Jack Sawyer went and won the game. And tonight, you know, I don't know if Jack had his best game. I don't know if JTT was more impactful. Ohio State's defensive line did fine against the run, but they weren't like explosive pass rushers. And, Riley Leonard threw a lot of passes when he had to, just at the last second. And really it was the offense jumping out early. I guess it was complimentary play in the first and second half that allowed, it was Chip Kelly's offensive scheme, and Chip Kelly had enough plays today to win a national title. So you stay at it long enough, you keep knocking on the door, especially when you're a coach. Eventually, when you keep knocking on the door and you have the team to do it, you keep getting there. Eventually, eventually you're going to crack through and you're going to win one if you don't quit. You see this with Andy Reid, and now you're seeing this with Ryan Day, and he's morphed into a coach that is really all about offense. And then he tried to be kind of, the year with Kyle McCord was kind of all about toughness and building up the lines of scrimmages, and he's evolved into a tougher team. And then when they needed to, they went back to the creativity of the finesse passing game. So Ohio State really had it all. And if they had to play Michigan again, they could have done that. They avenged the Oregon loss. They had the most talented team and Ryan Day, and they had the most physical team. So they kind of all put it together at the right time. They're a worthy champion. Now, we'll have the discussion about the regular season. And yes, some years, Ohio State wouldn't have been invited to the dance had they lost it. They lost to Michigan. All right. But that win against Texas was absolute gut check. That win against Tennessee at home, so impressive. And then against Oregon in the Rose Bowl, the way they won the game. And then tonight against Notre Dame, Ohio State's road to this final championship was as tough of a road as you're going to see any team go through. Okay, they had to face a really good Tennessee team, like I told you, the undefeated Oregon Ducks, Texas, Notre Dame. So it's not like Ohio State easily got to this title. Like, they earned this national championship. They even beat Penn State and Indiana, that are two playoff teams, during the regular season. So they outlasted everybody. And it's a year of outlasting, and it's a new era of college football. And for Ryan Day, I always knew he had it in him, and he had the play calling acumen. He has a really tough team. He's always looking to get better. He's a really good guy by all accounts, and finally he has his day in the sun. Whereas I look at Notre Dame, and I think that Notre Dame was kind of really glad to beat Penn State. They were ecstatic to beat Penn State. They were really happy to go out there and beat Georgia. Riley Leonard is a gamer at quarterback, but there were a ton of injuries, and I felt like tonight was going to be a really tough game for Notre Dame to win. They started out there with a beautiful first drive, but then Ohio State went on that massive run, and when Ohio State kind of tied the game and then Notre Dame was going 3-and-out, it became tough. But I got to say that Notre Dame in the final moments there with Riley Leonard throwing the ball, like if they played that game 10 times, like Ohio State went from when they were blowing out Notre Dame, it might have looked like Ohio State would win 10 out of 10 times, and it looked like it was going to be a walkover, to then Notre Dame really surging in the second half. And that second half is huge for that program, because if they absolutely got their tail kicked 45-7, and it looked like the massacre that it was in Alabama versus Notre Dame, it would be tough again for Notre Dame to get to the stage and get some respect and just have their self-esteem for winning a national championship, that is. So Marcus Freeman is just so calm on the sidelines, and through adversity, I was really impressed tonight by Marcus. Even when he went for the field goal and it didn't work out, and I didn't love that decision, I even said that before the miss, he again showed great poise and calmness throughout, even when the team was down by like 24, showed just a one play at a time attitude. And by gosh, they were maybe a play away from getting the football back with a chance to maybe go score 2-point conversion and tie it. And that's a testament to Notre Dame as well. So Notre Dame, again, they're on the rise. I think that their fans are certainly satisfied. I just think that where the two programs are, like Ohio State needed the game more. Ohio State's the better team. Ohio State has guys that are legends. Like, I'm so glad we can look back at that play, at Jack Sawyer, the scoop and score, and now we can say that football play will be remembered forever for Ohio State. And same with all of their guys from this team, like even Will Howard, even JTT, Caleb Downs, Jeremiah Smith. Like, these are guys that these Ohio State fans should remember and should cherish these players, for years to come. And I want these guys to remember, of course, tonight and the journey of the playoff and the whole journey of the year. These guys should remember it for the rest of their lives. So really excited and happy, honestly, for Coach Ryan Day. He deserves it. The people who said that he shouldn't get fired, they deserve this moment. Again, like I was pretty stunned. I wasn't like bringing out the pitchfork and saying fire Ryan Day. Of course, the Michigan game, he would tell you, was not acceptable. I was, a little surprised. I was surprised big time when a lot of even big outlets were saying that if he lost to Tennessee, that optically it would get bad and that Ryan Day could be fired. And I didn't agree with that decision. And the people who showed patience, the Ohio State fans who really showed patience in Day, those are the ones tonight that are even celebrating this more. All right, congrats to Ohio State.